Social media is expected to account for a third of all digital advertising spending in 2022. Furthermore, annual advertising spend on social media is expected to surpass $134 billion in 2022. That's an increase of 17% year over year, which equates to an additional $23 billion. All of this according to the social media statistics tracking site Hootsuite.com. Andrew Bartolotta is a digital media executive who has connected passion and purpose through technology for several years. As the director of digital media for cityCURRENT, he assists with various events and efforts to advance the corporate activation landscape and coordinate marketing and research projects for the company. Bartolotta refers to himself as a catalyst for high hopes and social good. He joined me this week to have a conversation about how we can maximize digital and social media to really amplify our efforts to do the most social and societal good. I'm Kevin McShann. Let's have this conversation. I'll take a moment to welcome you to the program, buddy, and I'm super excited to learn all about your life and professional story. Great to see you this morning, and thank you so very much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so Andrew, I'm wondering if we can start our conversation by you sort of giving me a 360-degree view of who you are, what you do, and what makes you so fabulous, buddy.
Okay, cool. Thank you. So I am a digital media professional, and so I started my career in high school, actually, learning graphic design software and yearbook and computer classes. And from there, I realized that I could do it as a job to help power the good and change people's lives through digital media. So that's basically where I got started.
Yeah, and I'm wondering to ask you about the advancement of social and digital media and how it's really evolved to be the sort of the new form of communication for everyone. I'm curious to get your answer there.
Yeah, so I think it's fascinating that you and I are even able to have this conversation without being in the same room. And so utilizing technology, which is, like you said, ever changing and it has evolved rapidly for sure, always staying up to date and what's the newest and hottest trends, but also understanding what is tried and true when it comes to communications and just utilizing technology to share the messages between friends and family and businesses for prospective and current clients. And I think that it's a great way to communicate, and there's ways that you can really impact people's lives using this technology.
Yeah, absolutely. And what does it mean to you to be sort of the catalyst for high hopes? They tell me you're the catalyst for high hopes and social good. So what does that mean to you?
Yes. So to be a catalyst of high hopes and social good to me is to see the positives around us and then magnify the voices who deserve to be heard through being a conduit, sharing positive stories and inspiring messages that really help others live a more purposeful life.
Yeah. So when we talk about connecting your personal passion and purpose, buddy, through technology, what do you think of?
Well, I use my platforms like social media, being affiliated with clubs and organizations in and around where I live, and help small and medium-sized businesses to be their best selves through, branding, digital media, social media, and communications processes. Like, for example, if I see someone doing great things, I'll go ahead and share it on my social media platforms and then reach out to media organizations to help cover their stories. And it's all about using tools like social media we have at our disposal to help others and empower the good.
Yeah, and then tell me that you're the director of digital media for cityCURRENT, buddy, where you assist with various events and efforts to advance the corporate activation of the landscape. So I'm wondering if you can tell me about your current role and why you're so passionate about it.
Absolutely. So cityCURRENT is a partnership of over 100 businesses, from large businesses like AutoZone, FedEx, Smith & Nephew, to smaller regional businesses like Quick Cuts Media, Pimeno's, Napa Cafe, and they all put in money to power the good in our community through our events, media, and philanthropy. So we host a signature speaker series 8 times a year in Memphis and 6 times in Nashville, but we also do them virtually for those that want to watch wherever they live. And it just provides a motivational morning. And then we also host volunteer events like one I'm working with for next month, which is where we'll host 300 kids at Las Americas, and we'll provide them with new socks and shoes. So we partner with a tremendous organization named Samaritan's Feet, and they help us wash the feet. We get volunteers, about 100 volunteers, and we wash the feet of these kids and give new socks and shoes to children and families in need. And so the media part is similar to what we're doing today. We have podcasts, TV shows in Memphis and Nashville, and then host an annual award show highlighting those in our community that are doing good.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely the sense of gratification that you personally get being involved in such great things. I'm fascinated.
Yeah, so my boss calls it giving for growth, and it really is a way that you're not only giving, but you're receiving sometimes even more than you give, because you're able to see the impact that you're making and your coworkers and community around you. So the gratification of helping others is something that is really my lifelong purpose.
Yeah, and I know part of that mission is empowering people to be community problem solvers through and igniting through change through social media. So I'm wondering if you can tell me about it.
Yeah, so it's all about educating those in our community who are problem solvers, whether in the nonprofit field sector, education sector, faith sector, or for-profit business space. And so I love teaching these problem solvers how to leverage tools like Sendable, Canva, and social media to move their mission forward and empower their communities. So I host different workshops, I have videos, and it's really fun to provide education for those who are eager to make a difference but don't know the tools and what to use. And so I help them do that, and from there they're off and running.
Yeah, absolutely. And Andrew, they tell me that when you were in college, you volunteered for over 1,000 hours, and you did some pro bono work to help small businesses. So tell me, buddy, why is volunteering so important to you? And a little bit about those college days and the experiences you had, buddy.
Yes, thank you. And so I mentioned I was in yearbook class in high school. And so learning those graphic design tools, I realized that I could really make a business out of this, but more importantly, I could help others who don't know how to use these tools. And a lot of, social media, I came upon a time, I went to college in around 2010. And so a lot of social media was still new or newer. And so there were tools that people didn't know how to use. And so I learned a lot of them to help others, like the Adobe Creative Suite. And so I volunteer my time with local businesses and nonprofits before charging them. And I volunteered to create branding like logos and fundraising campaigns, to advertisements, videos, a lot of t-shirts, and really help them tell their story and impact lives of others that they're making a difference in their community and around the globe.
Yeah, fabulous. And Andrew, tell me, what does it mean to you to sort of maximize your personal level of impact and really be a change maker in life. How do you describe sort of maximizing your own level of impact?
I love the work that I do. And I think that through the pandemic, it really has helped expand the opportunities and areas in which I can make that impact. And so I work with several businesses from a freelance basis on helping them with social media marketing and branding services. And then I sit on a number of boards and committees that are helping our area become a more equitable and economically robust and thriving community. And so one of them is through Habitat Through Humanity. They have a run and Fall Fest every year, which has raised over almost $400,000 in the past decade to build houses in our areas for those that need them. Another one is honoring a music legend that is still a little on a secret basis, but we're working on a really cool project to provide scholarships in their name and also build a statue in our area. So there's some really cool projects that I get to work on, and for me, it's really fun. There's a lot of pinch me moments where I realize that I'm able to work alongside people that I really look up to and make a difference in our community that my children can see from years to come.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know in 2014, buddy, you were invited to the White House to talk all about digital media and innovation. What you learned and shared with some of the best people in the field. So tell me about that experience and what you gained from it.
Yes. And so being invited to the White House under the Obama administration twice was really a dream come true. They were the first administration to have an Office of Digital Strategy, considering social media was really taking off during the 2008 elections. And it was super cool working with his staff on leveraging those tools and technology to push legislation and also highlight the events taking place in and around the White House. I worked with them on the French arrival ceremony and was on hand for the White House holiday social, which was a way to use social media to showcase the volunteers and efforts decorating the People's House for the holidays. It was really cool. I grew up watching HGTV and those ABC specials of the White House around the holidays, even in different administrations, and just seeing all of the work that goes in for volunteers coming in and decorating the People's House with beautiful decorations that tell the story about our nation, and then all of the cool parties that would go on there. So it was really cool to see who's behind that, and also the hard work that is put into to any administration's work through the White House and showcasing the great things that this nation is all about.
Yeah, and Andrew, I'm looking at the sign behind you that says create, share, and so tell me about the sign behind you and what it means to you, buddy.
Sure. So my job at cityCURRENT, our mission, we say, is to power the good. And so what that means is to create the good, to share the good, to become the good, and ultimately to power the good in our community. And so it's all about making a difference and empowering people through everyday life and everything that you do and your values. And so that is sort of our mission. And as a graphic designer, I came up with the graphic behind me, and it's just a fun way to showcase the values in which we have and the opportunities, but also the responsibility we have as individuals to help others and empower them to live their best lives.
Yeah, absolutely. And Andrew, I personally am all about diversity, equity, and inclusion for folks with disabilities, but because I was born with cerebral palsy, and I really think technology is a real voice for people with special needs. I know that I'm always thankful for the advantages that technology provides me having a disability. So I'm curious to ask you about your perception of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and how it can really help folks with disabilities from a technology perspective.
Well, first, Kevin, I think it's tremendous the work that you're doing, and the podcast having over 500 episodes. I think that's so cool, and being able to help expand what people are doing and giving a voice for so many. So first, I want to commend you in the work that you're doing, and using your disability as an ability, because you are showcasing what people with cerebral palsy can do and the opportunities they can do. So I think it's really cool what you're doing, Kevin. But when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion, to me, most of the time, the term, DEI in the business sector, it's more than just an acronym, and it really needs to be a lifestyle in which both personally and through your business, you're thinking of ways to make your products and services equitably, which are available for all. And so as a marketing professional, when I push out content, both traditionally and through digital media, I'm always aware and making sure that campaigns represent everyone through messaging, and that visuals are extremely important and an opportunity to showcase people with disabilities, minority demographics, different ages, genders, to be able to showcase all, and not just having stock photos of certain people that we usually see in content. So I think diversity, equity, inclusion is super important. In high school, actually, there's a nonprofit in the Memphis area called Bridges. And so it's all about, because Memphis is a very diverse socioeconomical region, we have very poor areas, we have very affluent areas. And so they bring people from all backgrounds to really throw us in this sort of like Big Brother real world style for a week during the summer, where we learn about each other's backgrounds and how important diversity is. And so I was able to do that in high school and some in college. And that really helped me understand the work that I do, and ultimately led me into one of my previous jobs at Leadership Memphis, where I was able to work with CEOs and business professionals to make a difference in underserved areas. And so I think when you think about the most important factors for your values in your personal life, but also in business, diversity, equity, and inclusion need to be at the forefront, because we live in a time where everyone deserves to have a voice.
Yeah, absolutely. And Andrew, my final question for you this morning has to do with a legacy, buddy, because I'm all about celebrating the wins in life. So when you take a retrospective of your life, how do you want your legacy to be defined, and how do you think you'll celebrate the wins in your life?
Well, thank you, Kevin, for asking this question, because I feel like so many of us live life in the fast lane, and we never take time to really sit down and reflect on what we want our legacy to be, because we're so busy just living the life that we're living. And so for me, as a Christ follower, a husband, and a father of 3 kids, I really want my legacy to be of a mind that I worked hard for my family and community. I inspired others to be problem solvers and creatives, and I use my time here on earth to do the most good that I could in the time that I had to do it in.
Yeah, absolutely. And just one follow-up, buddy. You said you had 3 kids. How was navigating your kids through the pandemic? I'm fascinated.
So I have 18-month-old twins that we adopted last January. So we went through the adoption process during the pandemic, which was very, very strange and challenging. And then last March, my wife and I found out that she's pregnant with a boy. So we have 2 boys and a girl. We have 18-month-old twins, like I said, and a 7-month-old boy. And so it is fun. It is crazy. It is always loud in our house. I'm surprised it's very quiet right now, which is very surprising. I'm sure they're getting into something in the other room, but it's a lot of fun. I think that the pandemic has been very challenging, but it also was a time for us to spend more quality time with our kids at home. And so I think there were some blessings throughout that tumultuous time that we were able to utilize to spend some quality family time together.
Yeah, absolutely. And finally, Andrew, tell me, if people want to get connected with the good work that you do at cityCURRENT, or you personally, what's the best way they can do that?
Sure. So I'm Andrew JPG, Andrew JPEG on all social media, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. You can find me at Andrew Bartolotta, which is just type out my name. And then cityCURRENT, we have citycurrent.news, at cityCURRENT everywhere. And we're always looking to share positive news stories from around the globe of people making an impact, just like you, Kevin. And so it's really fun to have a repository of good news and positive news and events in media and philanthropy. So that's what we do here at cityCURRENT, and we'd love to have people follow us.
Well, Andrew, there's never a shortage of need for good news, isn't there?
Amen. I agree.
Absolutely. Well, Andrew, I really want to thank you for the good work that you do to spread positivity in the world and throughout the city of Memphis, building your time in this space and dedication to this important mission is most appreciated. I want to thank you for engaging in conversation with me and for being here this morning. It's most appreciated.
Thank you so much, Kevin. I love what you're doing. Keep doing great work.